There's a kind of pain that doesn't scream. It doesn't break dishes or punch walls. It just lingers, quietly, in the mornings when your chest feels heavy for no reason. In the nights when your mind keeps replaying the same question. Why do I feel like I'm not okay? Even when I'm trying so hard. You're not alone in that question. And more importantly, you're not broken in the way you think. Not useless, not defective, not doomed. You're in the middle of something holy. Something hard, yes, but meaningful. People often assume that those who shine the brightest have never fallen apart. That they were born with some kind of armor, stronger minds, smoother paths. But here's the truth no one tells you. The brightest lights were once inside shattered vessels. You know what happens when something glass breaks under pressure? It reflects light in more directions than it did before. Each fracture catches something new. You've been broken, yes. But maybe, just maybe, you've never been more capable of reflecting what matters. Still, let's be honest. When you're in the middle of it, that doesn't feel like beauty. It feels like failure, shame, silence. You show up to work. You smile at people. You answer, "I'm good," when asked. But inside, you're a house with no lights on. So let me ask you something. What if the worst thing that happened to you wasn't meant to end you? What if it was meant to open you? Most people think breaking is the end of a story. But those who've truly rebuilt themselves, they'll tell you. The break was the moment they stopped pretending. The moment they stopped being who the world wanted and finally started being real. Raw, honest, human. There's a strange power in reaching the point where you have nothing left to protect. No more masks. No more pretending you're fine. You get honest. With life. With yourself. And from that honesty, something begins to grow. You may not feel strong. But here's what's true. You survived something that tried to destroy you. That alone means you're not weak. You are healing, not broken. You are real, not ruined. And there's more to your story than this chapter. But maybe you've been walking around with your pieces, trying to glue yourself back into your old shape. And that's why it still hurts. Because you were never meant to return to who you were. You were meant to become someone entirely new. The pain didn't come to punish you. It came to carve you into someone wiser, more empathetic, more grounded in truth, more you. And I know, I really do, that's not the kind of growth anyone asks for. But it's the kind that changes lives. Not just your own, but the ones who'll meet you later and see their reflection in your scars. You want to know something interesting? The people others run to for comfort are almost always the ones who once had no one to comfort them. They learned how to be the voice they needed when they were hurting. That's not weakness. That's legacy. So if you're feeling lost right now, heavy, tired, if you think you're too far gone to be useful, let me say something clearly. You are the type of person who will one day help someone survive something you once thought would kill you. And it won't be because you had all the answers. It'll be because you understand what breaking feels like, and you didn't let it end you. Breathe. Let that settle in for a second. The pain doesn't have to disappear for you to move. The fear doesn't have to vanish before you take a step. You don't need to be whole to be holy. You just need to stop hiding from the truth. That breaking wasn't the end. It was the beginning of the part of you that's actually unbreakable. There's something sacred about the moment you admit, I can't keep pretending I'm okay. Because that's not weakness speaking. That's truth finally making a sound. Most people spend their lives avoiding that moment. They cover it with noise, distractions, busyness, perfectionism. But deep down, the silence always returns. And in that silence lives a question many are too afraid to face. What if everything I've built was just a way to hide what I was afraid to feel? We don't like to talk about it, but so many of us are living on autopilot. We achieve, we perform, we hustle, not out of joy, but to outrun something inside us. But eventually, you run out of space to avoid it. The weight gets too heavy. The smiles start cracking. And that's when it hits. You were never broken. You were buried. Buried under expectations, trauma, silence, fear. And now, you're resurfacing. That's why it feels unfamiliar. That's why it's uncomfortable. Because becoming who you truly are means shedding the skin of who you thought you had to be. It's terrifying, but necessary. Because the false self can't carry your real future. The world needs your truth, not your performance. And that truth, it's built in the places where things fell apart. Think about the people who changed your life. Were they perfect? Always cheerful? Untouched by pain? No, they were raw, honest, real. They'd been through something and survived it. And that survival gave their words weight. Their silence had depth. Their presence had power. You don't trust people who've never been hurt. You trust the ones who've been crushed and kept going, because they understand. So let me ask you, why do you think your pain disqualifies you? Why do you think your breaking makes you less? It doesn't. It qualifies you. It's not the flawless who shine the brightest. It's the ones who've been crushed and still choose to rise, to love again, to hope again, to try again, not out of naivete, but out of strength. Do you know how strong it is to keep loving when you've been let down? To keep waking up when the world feels meaningless? To rebuild your spirit after life broke your heart? That's not weakness. That's resilience in its purest form. But I get it. Some days, even that feels like too much. Some mornings you wake up and feel empty. Not broken, just blank. Like a mirror wiped clean, nothing reflecting back. And here's what you need to know. That's still part of the becoming. Some days will feel like steps forward. Others will feel like stillness. And others still, like falling backward. But none of them mean you've failed. Healing isn't a straight road. It's more like a spiral. You revisit the same places, but each time with a deeper understanding. Each time, you break a little less. So don't measure your worth by how consistent you feel. Measure it by your decision to keep going, especially on the days you don't want to. Even if your voice shakes. Even if you cry while doing it. Even if you feel like nothing is changing. Because here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Just surviving today might be the bravest thing you'll ever do. And sometimes, the only victory is not giving up. That counts. That matters. That makes you strong, even if no one sees it but you. Let's make this practical for a second. What do you do when you feel like you're breaking again? You breathe. Slowly. Deeply. You write it out. Not for clarity, but for release. You speak truth to yourself like you would to a hurting friend. You drink water. You take a walk. You forgive yourself for not being superhuman. You look in the mirror, not for beauty, but for presence. You remind yourself, I'm still here. And sometimes, that's enough. And if that feels like nothing, hear this. Consistency in the dark is the foundation for strength in the light. The work you're doing now, quietly, painfully, is building something invisible but real. The people who shine the brightest aren't loud about their glow. They're grounded. They don't shine to be seen. They shine because they've been to the dark and made peace with it. And now they carry a light that feels different. It doesn't blind. It warms. It doesn't shout. It listens. It doesn't judge. It understands. Because that's what the breaking gave them. Compassion, depth, radiance from within. So if you're there, if you're in the middle of the falling, the tearing, the aching, don't waste it trying to get back to who you were. You were never meant to return. You were meant to rise. There's something no one tells you about people who truly shine. They didn't find that light in peaceful moments. They found it in nights of quiet desperation, in the silence of heartbreak, in the weight of grief no one else could see. But they didn't let that break define them. They let it refine them. If you're waiting to feel whole before moving again, let me tell you, you don't have to be perfect to begin. You don't need every piece in place. You just need a little willingness. Willing to believe that this isn't how your story ends. Willing to speak gently to yourself, even when your mind turns harsh. Willing to see your scars not as damage, but as designs of becoming. Because that's what this really is. A becoming. Becoming softer where you used to be guarded. Becoming stronger where you once collapsed. Becoming someone you would have needed in your darkest hour. And that matters more than you think. You don't have to make noise to be powerful. You don't have to be visible to be impactful. The ones who break and still rise. They carry a quiet light, a warmth that others feel even if they can't name it. So don't rush your healing. Don't fake your strength. And don't wait to feel ready. You're already becoming, already glowing in your own way. And maybe the very things you thought disqualified you are the things that will one day make you someone else's light.